Hey everyone, ready to get our hands dirty?
I'm ready. Let's dive in.
Today's deep dive is all about classic car restoration,
Oh, right up my alley. Love a classic car.
but we're putting a high-tech spin on it today.
Ooh, high tech and classic cars. That's an interesting combo. I like it.
We're talking sensors, data analysis, the whole shebang.
Sounds fascinating, like giving these old beauties a digital makeover.
Exactly. And we're going deep into a research paper by Rodrigo Gomes, all about a system that tracks the entire restoration process automatically.
Automatically, so no more clipboard and pen for keeping track of
You
things.
got it. This system is like having a digital shadow following every step of the restoration.
Okay, now you've really got my attention. I gotta know, how does it even work? What's the starting point?
Well, picture this. You've got a vintage Corvette up on the lift, right?
Yeah.
Every nut, every bolt is a piece of history.
Oh, absolutely. And documenting all of that must be a huge task.
Huge and easy to mess up.
You're telling me. I can only imagine the potential for errors.
That's where this system comes in. It uses these little sensor boxes, almost like Fitbits for cars, to monitor everything.
Fitbits for cars, huh? All right, I'm intrigued. What kind of data are we talking about here?
Well, for starters, they've got these things called accelerometers.
Accelerometers, like the ones in our phones. What good are those in a car restoration?
They're surprisingly insightful. See, each tool used on the car, like a sander or a wrench, creates a unique vibration.
Ah, so the accelerometer picks up on those vibrations. And wait, it can tell what tool is being used just from that.
You got it. It's like giving every tool a fingerprint. The accelerometer can tell if someone's using a grinder on the bodywork versus, say, polishing the chrome.
Wow, that's seriously impressive. It's like they're eavesdropping on the restoration process in a way.
Exactly. And it gets even cooler. These sensor boxes use Bluetooth signals to track the car's location within the workshop.
Hold on, Bluetooth? Like in my headphones?
You know it. They set up these Bluetooth beacons around the shop, and the sensor box on the car communicates with them.
So it's like a GPS, but for the inside of a workshop.
Precisely. The system knows if the car is getting its engine worked on, if it's in the paint booth, all in real time.
Okay, now that is slick. You've got location, you've got tool usage. What else could you possibly need?
Well, they didn't stop there. They also added smart energy meters to the mix.
Smart energy meters. What's so smart about those?
These meters are like the detectives of the electrical grid. They're hooked up to the workshop's power, and they can tell which tools are being used based on their energy consumption.
Wait, seriously, so even without seeing anything, the system knows if someone's firing up a welder or using an air compressor.
You got it. Each tool has its own energy signature, like a fingerprint.
This is unbelievable. They've thought of everything.
It's like giving these classic cars a digital voice, telling us their restoration story in a whole new way.
I'm completely blown away by this technology. It's incredible.
So last time we left off, we were talking about how this system uses smart energy meters to track tool usage. It's like they're monitoring the workshop's pulse, and each tool has a unique heartbeat.
It's an incredibly clever way to get a complete picture of what's happening during the restoration. But it's not just about knowing what's being done, but also how well it's being done.
Okay, now you're really diving deep into the data. I'm all ears. Tell me more about this how well aspect.
Well, think about those accelerometers we talked about earlier. They're not just recording the presence of a vibration, they're capturing the nuances of that vibration.
Nuances. So it's not just about whether a sander is turned on, but how it's being used.
Exactly. An experienced mechanic will have a different touch, a different rhythm to their work compared to someone who's just starting out.
So the accelerometer can tell the difference between, say, a master craftsman sanding down a fender and a novice who might be, I don't know, a little too enthusiastic with the sander.
You got it. It's like the difference between a seasoned musician playing an instrument and someone who's still learning the ropes.
That's incredible. It's like we're capturing the craftsman's skill, their years of experience, in the data itself.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting, because now we're not just talking about documenting the restoration process. We're talking about potentially preserving those skills for future generations.
That's a fascinating thought, almost like creating a digital library of craftsmanship. But I imagine this level of monitoring could also lead to more standardized approaches in restoration.
Absolutely. And that's both exciting and potentially a point of debate within the restoration community.
Okay, I can see how standardization could be a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, you want to ensure restorations are done to a high standard, preserving the historical accuracy of these cars.
Exactly. You don't want someone slapping on any old part or using a modern technique that compromises the car's authenticity.
But on the other hand, classic car restoration is an art form. There's intuition, creativity, maybe even a bit of feel involved.
Absolutely. Every car has its own story, its own quirks, and sometimes you need that human touch, that ability to improvise, to make judgment calls based on experience.
So it's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
right? Using technology to guide, inform, maybe even standardize certain aspects of the process, but also leaving room for the artistry, the human element that makes each restoration unique.
You hit the nail on the head. And that's something Gomes emphasizes in his research. It's not about technology replacing humans, it's about technology enhancing human capabilities.
It's like giving these master craftsmen a powerful new set of tools, allowing them to work smarter, not harder.
And to ensure that their incredible skills are documented, understood, and hopefully passed down to future generations.
Speaking of documenting, this whole system generates a massive amount of data. What happens to all of that information? What's the end game here?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting, but we're going to have to save that for the final part of our deep dive.
All right, deep divers, time to fire up those mental engines and cruise into the final stretch of our exploration.
Indeed. And we've saved some of the most intriguing insights for last. Remember those accelerometers we've been talking about?
Oh, how could I forget? Those tiny vibration detectives are the gift that keeps on giving, aren't they?
Precisely. See, Gomes found that those vibration readings could be used to create something like a digital fingerprint for each car's restoration process.
A fingerprint. So each restoration is unique, just like a fingerprint. That's fascinating. But how is that even useful?
Well, imagine you're trying to authenticate a classic car's restoration history.
Okay, yeah, that's a big deal in the classic car world. You want to know the work was done right, using the right techniques and parts?
Exactly. And with this system, you could potentially compare the vibration data from the original restoration, let's say 20 years ago, to data from any subsequent work done on the car.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying that years down the line, we could tell if a repair was done using the same methods and care as the original restoration? That's incredible. It's like having a time machine for craftsmanship.
It's a really compelling idea, and it highlights how this technology could be used to create a whole new level of transparency and accountability in the classic car world.
I'm already thinking about all the possibilities.
Mhm.
But let's shift gears for a second and talk about the bigger picture. We've been gushing over the technical wizardry of this system. But at the end of the day, what does it all mean for the future of classic car restoration?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think Gomes hits on something really crucial in his research. He argues that this kind of technology has the potential to bridge the gap between generations of restorers.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. You've got these master craftsmen with years of experience, a lifetime of knowledge passed down through hands-on learning.
Exactly. And for a long time, that's the only way to learn this craft, through apprenticeship, through trial and error, through years of working side by side with the masters.
But now, with a system like this, we could potentially capture that knowledge, that intuition, that feel for the craft, and make it accessible to a whole new generation of restorers.
You got it. Imagine being able to analyze the techniques of a master mechanic, to see how they approach a particular repair, how they use their tools, the subtle nuances of their craft. It's like having a digital mentor guiding you, even if the master themselves is no longer around to teach you directly.
It's like we're democratizing craftsmanship, making it possible for anyone with the passion and dedication to learn from the best, even if they never get the chance to pick up a wrench alongside a seasoned pro.
And that's a really powerful idea, because it's not just about preserving these beautiful classic cars, it's about preserving the skills, the artistry, the passion that goes into keeping them on the road for generations to come.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. It's amazing to think that something as seemingly simple as tracking vibrations and energy use could have such profound implications for the world of classic car restoration.
I couldn't agree more. It just goes to show that sometimes the most exciting innovations come from finding unexpected connections between technology and tradition.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this incredible journey into the world of high-tech restoration. A huge thank you to Rodrigo Gomes for his groundbreaking research. It's clear that this is just the beginning of a very exciting chapter in the story of classic cars.
Absolutely. And to all our listeners, keep those engines revving and those curiosity gears turning. Until next time, happy restoring.
And happy driving.